Hello. Okay. Hello, my name is Germán Aval. I'm here with Victor Del Val. We are working on the EVVM, the Ethereum Virtual Virtual Machine. You can find more information in evvm.org. So there will be QR codes around the presentation where you will find more information, direct links to the source code or to the documentation for each one of the things that we are talking about here. Like here, please, next. Well, we know that the state of Ethereum now, it's fragmentation, and we have a lot of issues also with scalability, thinking about infra. This is a picture of more or less what happens in EVM ecosystem. We have an L1, L2, then we have L3 interconnections, and a lot of infra deployment. So what we come to solve here with the EVVM project is the chain fragmentation in an infra-less solution. What means this? In the EVVM ecosystem, there is no chain fragmentations, and is not more infrastructure needed. How? Well, there you have a link to our smart contracts, and this solution is based on the deployment of smart contracts that virtualize the functionalities of an EVM and let you make a lot of improvements, so you have a virtualized EVM that is deployed now on an EVM. So the scalability now is in a vertical way from the ecosystem of the EVM that is already deployed, working, secure by a lot of infra. So this is a novel approach that let you do EVVMs very customizable, so you can have like executors that can act in behalf of other users. You can make dispersed space natively, and you can do whitelisting of usage. You can have your own name service working there as a service. We will see this later. You can have your own restrictions. You can also use native tokens of the EVVM without matter what is the native token of the EVM. So you can do an abstraction of that. You can use rewards, also reward systems that are also already coded. And of course, things like async nonces, that is something very needed and is very easy to implement. So there is a QR code also to see these kind of implementations. So about security, you will have your own execution rules. So you have your EVM, and then you have the EVVM. You can make rules, who can execute, who can't execute, rules of execution. So you are inside the EVM ecosystem. You have the EVVM deployed there, but you can put some logs to get access to some interfaces that are what was asked, will be acting as the opcodes or the interactions with the nodes. That is exactly the infra that is already deployed by the consensus of the first layer. And also, of course, the EVVM is demilitarized the DMC space to the EVM. The EVVM always can interact with the EVM ecosystem where it's deployed, and of course, use all the bridges and everything around. And the EVM could have access or not to the EVVM. So here we have a lot of abstraction, and this is important. When you deploy your own EVVM using this set of smart contracts and the new versions, you will be able to easily abstract transactions through relayers. In example, could be free, depends of if the relayer get a reward from the EVVM. So one transaction can go to a relayer and many more other transactions from other users, and this generates a meta transaction that goes through the EVM and goes to the EVVM that is smart contracts, but will act as an EVM. So there the transactions are unpacked, are verified, they do what they have to do, and then maybe gives a reward or whatever, change the state of the EVVM on mappings, on the storage of the contracts, not in the state of the chain. And this only will change for the relayer. Or also, you can make it permissionless, so you have the direction to go through a relayer, but the users can also go directly to the EVVM with a normal transactions. This depends on your configuration of the EVVM. So we can abstract transactions, we can abstract gas, of course, giving rewards to the relayers, because we will see later, but here, all the tokens are synthetics of the tokens that are on the EVM, because when you want to interact in the EVVM and you want to interact with tokens that already exist, you make synthetics, and with these synthetics and DeFi protocols, you can start generating yield that later you can get. You can have a treasury for the EVVM, or also you can reward all the relayers and different actors. You can abstract nonces, as I said in the past slide, where you can have sync nonces and sync nonces or anything that you can imagine. And this is a very easy way to prove, test, and implement opcodes with just a few Solidity lines, and you will have very extended functionalities, and of course native tokens. There is a QR code also to this part of the documentation or the code. Next, what I was talking before, you can do yield generation. This is because all the tokens that exist in the EVM ecosystem where you deploy, in example mainnet or any other chain, could be an L2 as well, become synthetic in the EVVM. Then the EVVM can give rewards to the different actors. How these rewards are generated with yield with the EVVM, that in a permissionless way or a permissioned way, depends on the deployer or on how this want to be used, will be generating through the methods that already exist on the EVM, bridges, or DeFi protocols, or also you can deploy your own Hyperlane implementation or other bridge implementation or whatever you want, and you can bridge from the EVVM to any DeFi protocol or use any DeFi protocol available, and you will get yield. And this yield will be used, it's like, imagine, it's a very difficult scenario, but imagine that there is a EVVM deployed in the whole EVM ecosystem of Ethereum. Everyone will have the same tokens, will be able to do the same things, but will be generating yield for everyone to spread among them. Of course, there is many security implications there, but this is a scenario very easy to understand. So, you deploy when you are, because there is another thing. A question that comes very often is, okay, do you have the EVVM? Can I deploy there? Can I compile smart contracts on your EVVM? Yes, you don't need to do it in the EVVM. You do just in the host, in the EVM that is hosting. And if the EVVM is compatible and is awaiting for this, you just deploy. In example, we have codes already made for peer-to-peer swaps, DeFi lending, staking, and a name service. And you deploy these services. These services are on the EVM. The users can interact directly with these services or through the relayers also with the services. And these services use the EVVM. So you invented a peer-to-peer swaps, in example, for the EVVM. Is deployed in a permissionless way in the EVM, and the peer-to-peer swaps is using the EVVM. And every time it's using the EVVM, because of maybe the configuration that you made, the protocol will be getting the rewards. The yield from the staking that is generating depends how do you want to set the rewards. We have already many pre-configured possibilities, but this is very interesting because you can deploy something that we call services. So you have your EVVM, you have a lot of services around, and the users can interact with them without any problem. And the relayers, of course, are very important if you want to do a lot of abstractions. So the user can connect in a Web2 manner, and then they are using the Web3 without knowing anything. Another thing that is very interesting here is that you can change the host or your EVVM in case you are doing a lot of abstraction, and the users will not know it, and they will continue using your protocol, and you are just switching because infra preference for the host. Next, well, another thing very interesting is sandboxing. When we want to try code, test, and also validate with users, it's nothing more easy than deploy on a testnet. And with the EVVM, you can deploy solutions, very strong solutions. In example, you have a new EIP, the 42069, and then you code an EVVM, you make the change on the code to make the implementation of this EIP, and you throw it throw it live to an EVM, and people can start using it, giving feedback, whatever is needed. And then when the feedback is enough, you can disable this EVVM and you do the EVM upgrade. So this lets you make very easy EAP tests and implementation or other kind of modifications that you might think are great for the EVM. Well, the EVVM future, we think, can the future happen just on mainnet? Yes. We can have Ethereum mainnet extremely more reinforced, with more nodes, with more infra, and we just can deploy EVVMs for art, DeFi, gaming, ultra, social, CK, whatever, without needing more infra, deploy new mempools, new nodes, more requirements, and divide efforts in place of have the same effort and start growing vertically in place of horizontally. So, well, have you ever seen a hyperstructure? Well, please, there is a link that you will be able to copy more easy in the streaming later. This is a QR of our mirror post, the first one that we made, where you can find the repo, you can find our socials, you can find our licensing model. The EVVM is free to use for personal use and educational use. Is a non-commercial license, so if you want to make a commercial implementations, you have to reach to us, and we can explore the implementation. And well, thank you for your attention, and I hope you like it, the new way to scale Ethereum. And now we have a Telegram group, you can join it, it's brand new. Please come, thank you.